Okay. Good morning, Ms. Ford. I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to do an interview with me again.
No problem.
As I told you before, this is an interview regarding your expertise in public relations. Now I know that you have had an extensive background in PR and communications, including being a professor and chair of the PR department here at Syracuse, a sought-after speaker where you've spoken at Bermuda's Department of Communications and Information, Omnicom, and many, many more. You've also been a coordinator of diversity podcasts for public relations tactics, as well as received many awards for your work. I've noticed that a lot of your work has to do with diversity. This is something that I found unique in the ways that you've intertwined both diversity and public relations. And I would like to ask you first, how or why did you intertwine the two throughout your career?
Sure. So first I'll define what public relations is, because I think that will provide an important baseline understanding. So when I talk, it'll make more sense than I think public relations or PR.
Okay.
So I define public relations as a management function of building and maintaining mutually beneficial relationships between an organization and its publics on whom its success or failure depends. Now, with that said, is that public relations, the whole purpose is to help organizations succeed and to communicate with people, two-way forms of communication with people who will help that organization or that could hurt the organization. As you know, America is really changing in terms of how people identify with even concepts that we used to take for granted as gender. Gender identity has shifted now. Sexual orientation, the races in America, used to be black or white. Now you have, multiple races that you can choose to belong to, as well as cultures and countries where people have immigrated from. Well, it's not just like that in the U.S. It's happening like that all around the world. And so, for people who are entering into public relations and are trying to help organizations out, communicate with their employees or with the communities where they operate or their investors or their customers, you have to have a keen understanding of people and accepting how people identify and how that influences their communication and influences their behavior, whether it's age, gender, sexual orientation, race, ethnicity. And so it's very important that public relations professionals understand diversity and the differences that exist and influence that diversity element has on people's communication behaviors, but also that we create a diverse workforce that can better serve the needs of the public as well. Because I believe that organizations to the best of their ability should reflect the various publics that they represent, so that you can't have an all-white, all-female, blonde-haired, graduated from Syracuse University department, It has to be diverse in the way people think, their education level, their socioeconomic level, their, gender, sexual orientation, what have you. The more diverse an organization is, the more creative they will be to solving problems that organization faces, the more that they'll be able to identify and come up with creative solutions or better understand the publics in which they're serving. So that's why I'm passionate about diversity in public relations.
Okay, thank you very much. So with your definition of public relations, how would you kind of compare and contrast the practice of public relations to something like marketing and advertising, especially in the sense of diversity?
Related and complementary industry. So public relations is really about communicating with public that can help your organization and hurt your organization. So we work very closely with marketing because they're the ones that are responsible for the exchange. In other words, they're the ones that are responsible for selling the product, having people to want to buy products and use your services, what have you. It's all about the exchange. Well, the difference with PR is that it's not always about the exchange. So sometimes I'll be communicating with activist groups. So let's say that I'm having to represent an abortion clinic. I am not going to try to sell an abortion to someone who's pro-life. That's just a waste of my time.
Right.
Okay? If I am a fur clothing store, I am not going to try to sell furs to PETA. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But as a public relations person, PETA might protest against me. You know, a Right to Life group may protest against me because they want to end my business. I cannot ignore them. If I ignore them, if I create a role that makes us more antagonistic than what we already are, that can really hurt my organization. I have to find a way that we can agree to disagree and have a discourse so that consumers who may be on the fence, whether they're pro-life or pro-choice or people who are anti, fur, animal rights versus those who are, I love fur and I eat meat, you know what I mean? I have to find a way that both of our voices can be heard in the marketplace. Public relations deals in the marketplace of ideas, whereas advertising tends to really focus on how can I get people to buy or use or become aware of my products and services. And it's really geared towards the consumer. And marketing is all about the product that you're trying to sell, the price of that product. It's about how the distribution model for that product or that service. It's about the packaging of the product or service, and it's about the actual promotion of the product and service. Public relations deals with other types of public, including the exchange, but other types of public as well that may not ever buy the product. They simply work for your organization or what have you.
Okay. Yes, it does. Thank you very much. And how long have you been a public relations practitioner or in the PR field?
Since I was an undergraduate in college, I majored in PR at Howard University.
Okay, so because you've been in the field for quite some time, how would you say PR has changed or evolved, if at all, especially in regards to diversity?
Well, we are a lot better, a lot more accepting of diversity. We're a lot more inclusive than we used to be. There's a lot more diversity in the field now than there used to be. So in all of those respects, we have definitely improved as a field.
Okay, and how would you say, or do you even think that social media has impacted the practices of public relations?
Oh my goodness, it's transformed it. So we used to have to rely upon the mass media. Everything PR people used to do, if it wasn't dealing with internal community, we had to communicate through the mass media, television, newspapers, what have you. And you'd hear about press conferences and press releases, and everything had to deal with the news. Everything had to deal with mass media. Well, with the advent of social media and the internet, that totally has transformed. So now I can use Twitter, I can use Facebook, I can use Instagram, Snapchat, what have you, to communicate directly with my particular public. So I can listen to conversations that people who are anti my organization, and I can listen to those conversations, what they're saying on Facebook, what they're saying on Twitter, and I can then have a better understanding of where they're coming from and be better able to communicate with them. I can listen to people who are champions of my cause or the issues that I'm communicating with, and I can reaffirm their identity through social media. And I don't have to wait until some media journalist decides that they want to cover me. I can cover myself. I can make my own web page, and I can put up my own YouTube videos, and I can communicate with whomever I want to communicate with when I want to communicate because of the power of social media and the internet.
Okay, in regards with social media, how would you give, what kind of advice would you give a young person who is growing up in this social media age to kind of stand out in order to be a successful public relations practitioner?
Sure. The first piece of advice that I would give is that they need to become, I would say, a social media junkie. They need to know how to use it. They need to know, just really play around with that tool. But then also, I would encourage you to think about how it can be used strategically. In other words, if I'm representing Coca-Cola, how can I use social media to better promote, how can I use social media to better promote Coca-Cola sustainability practices with water? How can I use it to encourage people to recycle the bottles and the cans that my product comes in? How can I use Coca-Cola to help engender community awareness about the scholarships and the reinvestment that I do in the community on behalf of Coca-Cola? So instead of just thinking about the use of it in terms of a personal sense, think about the best cases that companies can engage their consumers, can engage their other audiences, in the social media space. So be a great user of it, explore, figure out how it works, and then think about how this could be used to help a company.
Okay. And I think that takes care of everything that I need. Is there anything you'd like to add, or do you have any questions for me?
No. So what year are you?
I'm going into my senior year.
Of high school or?
Oh, no, of college. Yep. I go to SU. I'll be going into my senior year.
Oh, how exciting.
Yes.
And are you your CRS major?
Yes, I am. And I have a minor in public communications at Newhouse.
Oh, good. So where are you in the course of that minor?
I'm almost done. I've taken a PR class last semester, and I think that's what really helped me to realize that, this is really what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily with that minor, I was able to take that class.
Okay, very good. So did you take Intro to Public Relations?
Yes, that's what I took last semester.
And so you have with Dr. Jung, with Y. Jung?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I'm glad. I hope that was helpful. Have you gotten involved in PRSSA?
I haven't yet. I just actually learned about it through her class.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I'm definitely going to try and get involved with.
Well, that's part of the secret sauce for success in PR. Hold on a second. Baby, are you going to come inside or are you staying outside today? My dog is, debating what she's doing. She can't come to work with me. You have a good day. So that's kind of like a secret sauce. So if you want to really become part of the Newhouse Network, you really want to create a national network for yourself, get involved with PRSSA, not just pay dues. Join the student-run agency and go to the national conference, and you will create a national network for yourself.
Okay?
And that's where you're going to learn a lot of different things outside the class. Make sure you go to all the speakers that we have in the PR department and network with those people,
Okay.
So you don't have to graduate with a PR degree to work in PR, but you certainly can gain hands-on experience through Hillcom. You can gain hands-on experience through, through volunteering and interning and that sort of thing, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, well, I wish you the best, okay?
Thank you very much for your time and your expertise.
Not a problem. If you have any other questions and you just want to talk or something, feel free to give me a buzz.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, God bless. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.